Good afternoon, everybody. Sam Romeo here, environmental educator at Allwood, and today I'm going to give you a little winter birding tip. You may be going out birding and there may not be a lot of leaves. You may think, okay, we're going to see a lot of birds, but sometimes they're kind of hard to find. And one little tip of something that I usually come across is you usually find birds in flocks all together. What I like to call little pockets of birds. I may be birding, I may hit a spot where I hear, like right now, you might hear chickadees, I hear some cardinals around me, some woodpeckers, and once you find these little pockets, I usually stand in this one spot for maybe 15-20 minutes, because birds during this time of year like to group up into flocks, and these flocks are usually different species, but they share the same feeding style. They share the same type of food that they eat. So one example is, chickadees and tufted titmice, sometimes even golden crown kinglets, they like to forage in, piles or groups of leaves that maybe still be hanging onto the branches because there's still a lot of insects inside of there. Another example is like blackbirds. You may find huge flocks of starlings, grackles, red-winged blackbirds during this time of year, and that's because they have the same feeding style and food. So it's a safety and number thing, and it's also much easier for them to find food together. So we have a little pocket of chickadees up here, and if you see, this is a tulip tree, and I don't know how good this will come out in the video, but on tulip trees, the reason they're called tulips is because in the wintertime on the end of the branches, they look like they have tulip flowers, and those are actually the seed pods of the tulip tree. And a lot of the time you will find chickadees, tufted titmice in those, searching for the seeds. So those birds usually stick together because they feed in the same area. A lot of times you might come across a lot of blackbirds too. Blackbirds have the same feeding style. They're looking for the same food. So sometimes when you come across chickadees and titmice, you might find a nuthatch. You might even find, if you're really lucky, a golden crown kinglet too. So it's a safety and numbers thing, and of course it's much easier for them to find food together. Now another tip I have for you is listen for what we call call notes. So during the springtime, a lot of birds have, the songs, and that is mostly for territorial reasons and for mating. But during the wintertime, we have something that are call notes. And this is kind of, if you feel comfortable with bird calls, this is kind of the next step of birdie you can really go into, is picking up on who has certain call notes. So you can hear cardinals have a single call note, chickadees have a single call note that's really easy to pick up, even tufted titmice. There's something like kind of warning calls that, tufted titmice do. And some birders do something that's called pishing. It goes psh, 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 psh. That is mimicking a warning call from birds, and that is a good way to bring sparrows up, if they're kind of down low in the grass. But these call notes are these birds constantly communicating to each other. And now let's see and hear some and find some of these pockets of birds. So right now what we are hearing is the call note of a northern cardinal. Sounds like there's maybe two in here, one back over this way too. You just heard a chickadee. There's the cardinal. So they're not necessarily calling, like a song like they do in the springtime trying to find mates, but what they're doing is they're just constantly communicating to one another. Of course, without the foliage that we have up here, they are, a little more prone to danger. Cooper's hawks or, maybe other animals, foxes that might want to get them. So this constant communication is a way for them to kind of stay safe. And when you find these kind of pockets of birds, oh, there goes a rabbit. When you find these pockets of birds, these call notes are something that, you should be attracted to when you're out birding in the wintertime. You hit these little pockets of birds that are usually together. That's a good place to kind of stick around for a little bit, because you're probably going to see a couple different species together. I want to thank you all for watching this week. A quick little tip for birding. Get outside. It's snowed. It's beautiful. The birds are out and about looking for food. But I will see you in 2 weeks. So my videos are now going to be bi-weekly, so not next week, but the week after that. I'll be putting out another video, and I hope to see you then. Happy winter and happy birding, everyone.